If you're over 40 and you feel like you've been going along, making great strides with your weight loss or fitness efforts, and then all of a sudden everything's stalled, well, it could be your metabolism, it could be your hormones, or it could be your strategy. Hi, I'm Lydia Martinez Ebling, certified fitness and nutrition specialist and hormone health coach. And today I'm going to break down what is a plateau, how you actually break it, and what strategy works best for you, especially in midlife. So you feel like you've hit a plateau, like you're doing everything right. You're eating clean, you're doing your activities, and then you have no movement and you're feeling super frustrated. Well, the first question you should ask yourself, am I really in a plateau? Let me tell you a story. Okay. So we have one client, Teresa, and she says, I've been doing all the things, right? We had her macros broken down. We have her workout set. We had stress strategies in place, all of the things. And she says, I was doing good and now I'm not getting any results. And I said, well, Teresa, tell me, what are your results? And she goes, well, I don't know. Well, what do you mean you don't know? Because she didn't do her measurements. So she assumed that she was actually in a plateau. And without having that actual data, she didn't know if she was in a plateau. So she had measurements from the beginning, but then didn't check anything then. I'm telling you this because there's questions that you need to ask yourself and data that you need to identify before you truly identify if you're in a plateau. So then if you're in a plateau, what do you do about it? So let's talk about that. Now, let's rewind for a second and say, okay, what actually is a plateau? Well, you have different types of plateaus. You can have weight loss plateaus, you can have fitness plateaus, you can have muscle building or gaining plateaus, but let's just talk about weight loss because that's always a big one for women at our age. I hate saying that, but it really is because our metabolism is all over the place. So truly, what is a plateau? First, a plateau is defined, this is the definition, that you haven't had any weight loss, body loss, or inches loss over a 4-week period. Okay, 4 weeks. And that's one of the things I always talk about. When do we want to do measurements? Every 4 weeks at the most. But if you haven't gotten any results over 4 weeks, now, let me explain this. If you got on the scale and no movement on the scale, but then you did your measurements and inches went down, then you're not in a plateau. You get on the scale and the scale moves, but no inches are down and no body fat's down, you're not in a plateau. Get it? So if you have movement in any one of those areas at any given time of that 4 weeks, then you're not in a plateau. Now, 4 weeks and you get on, there's no movement in the scale, no movement in inches, no movement in body fat, then you possibly could be in a plateau. Now, what causes a plateau? There can be a few different things that cause a plateau. So your body's always looking for balance. And usually, first when women come to us and we are working with them, the reason they're not getting any results is because their metabolism is tanked. Their calories are too low. See, yes, your body has what we call the law of thermodynamics. That law of thermodynamics, energy in, energy out. Let me explain that further. What does that mean? It means the amount of fuel that you take in and the amount of fuel that you burn each day. If you're taking in more fuel than you're actually burning, you're going to stall. But at the same time, if you're taking in less fuel and burning too much, then your body's going to slow down. It's called metabolic adaptation. It's because your body's always looking for balance. So when you lower your calories, which is a good thing and you get results, but you go too long at too low of calories, your body says, oh, I need to slow down the rate at which I'm burning energy because I don't know how much food I'm going to get. That's called metabolic adaptation. So that's one reason that people or women go into a plateau. The next reason is hormonal imbalance. And there's a lot of different reasons for hormonal imbalance. Like I always hear, and I hear it a lot, is that, women come to us and they'll say, Lydia, I haven't changed anything. I don't eat bad. I might not eat great, but I don't eat bad. I work out, but I'm not, a gym rat. I've always been active and I've changed nothing in my diet and I'm gaining weight. And that's because we're going through that hormonal decline. There's a lot of shifts in our body, but there's the inflammation we're dealing with. Our cortisol's going up because of the shift in hormones. Our insulin's going up, unfortunately. And the thing is, don't get depressed because there's things that you can do for all of this. But our insulin goes up. When our insulin goes up, then, well, we know fat burning ceases to exist. Then it could be thyroid. Then it's the decline of our sex hormones, but also there are metabolic hormones, testosterone, estrogen, and progesterone. So that could be another reason why you're hitting a plateau. So we just need to address that. Next part of that, how we hit plateaus is that we're overdoing it. What do I mean? Meaning that you are eating right and you're exercising, but maybe you're exercising too much and not allowing your body to heal, and you're not giving it enough nutrients to do that. So we're overstressing our body. When we're doing too much, too many workouts, too hard of a workout, not allowing our body to recover. Now, trust me, you want to do a good, strong workout that challenges you, but you don't want to be killing yourself every day in the gym. So that's going to be another reason that you hit a plateau. And then going back to like your calories, the last reason why you could be in a plateau is that your calories are out of balance. It's not just about the calories, but the macronutrients, your protein, your fat, your carbohydrates. You might be taking in the right amount of calories for your activity, for your goal, but your ratios are off. And if they're off, then everything slows down. So those are just some of the reasons, and the top reasons of why we get into a plateau. So now, how do we break that plateau? Okay, well, first, ask the question, am I truly in a plateau, right? 4 weeks, remember, it's 4 weeks with what? No body fat loss, no weight loss, no inches lost. If you have movement in any one of those areas, then you're not in a plateau. If you are in a plateau, 4 weeks, you said, Lydia, nothing's moving. Okay, then ask yourself the next question. What has changed? Do I have more stress? Has my schedule changed? Have my food habits changed? Have my activities changed? You need to identify, have my sleep patterns changed? Identify things that could have been a shift, because maybe you were on a schedule and doing well, and I don't know, some type of stress happens. Maybe it's financial, maybe it's work, maybe your in-laws are coming in town. It could be any type of stress that can cause a reaction in your body. Yeah, mental and emotional is strong, okay? So asking yourself those questions and identifying where there might be a gap. And if you identify that gap, then you can measure, monitor, and adjust. Now, let's say it's your food. Okay, the only way to know is if you're tracking. Are my calories too low? Or my macronutrients off balance? Or my hormones in check? So going through all the things that I talked about, so you can check it off, because everything can be addressed, but you have to identify which is it. Majority of the time, it's the food. Like I said, it's either too low of calories or the macronutrients off. So if that's happening, well, let's just start with the basics of, okay, where am I? Track for 7 days, and then do the measure, monitoring, and adjusting. Looking at your food, saying, okay, I need to increase my calories at least 1 day a week. That's the big thing. So if you're in a deficit because you're trying to lose weight, we don't want that metabolic adaptation to happen. So what do? We call it a refeed day. Now, this is not a cheat day. Cheat days are completely different, right? And when I say cheat day, it usually should only be a cheat meal. But let's go back to refeed. Refeed is boosting back your calories. So let's say, for example, you're doing 1,600 calories. That's your deficit. But your maintenance is over 1,800 calories. So 1 day a week, what you want to do is you want to boost your calories to 1,800. And the best way to do that actually is in the form of carbohydrates, especially if you're strength training. So this is going to help support your leptin balance and your ghrelin balance. These are your yin and yang hormones. One, it tells you you're hungry. The other one tells you that you're full, and they're part of the control of your metabolism, whether it's turned on or whether it's turned off. So boosting your calories 1 day a week gives you a surge. You're going to be really surprised. You can actually even do that a couple days a week and watch the pounds to actually start dropping. That's the crazy thing. I can't tell you how many women have come to us intimidated by the concept, actually kind of afraid to increase their calories. And then they trust us, and they actually start dropping weight effortlessly because they're giving their body what it actually needs. So now we talked about and addressed the refeed days. Let's say that's not your issue. Let's say you might need to bump up your activity. Now, I did mention that most of the time or often you could be overdoing it. There's no happy medium with our women. They're either overdoing it or not doing it at all when it comes to activity. So ask yourself, am I strength training? Have I added that in? What does my activity look like? That's the next part of breaking a plateau. If your food's on point, calories on point, you're doing your refeeds once a week, you're boosting your calories, then let's look at the activity. Activity is going to be the best way, because how do we drop fat? We drop fat by a deficit, and the deficit is either lower calories or increasing our activity. So if you're not doing any activity, just walking is going to add activity. But if you're walking plenty, then are you strength training? Adding that strength training in. And if you say, yes, I am strength training, are you overdoing it? Or are you not doing enough? Or do you need to address that strategy? That's going to be one of the simplest ways though. Strength training, the more muscle you build, the more calories you burn, the less room you take up. And what's really cool about that is that the more food you actually get to eat. Next, let's look at your food source, like your protein, prioritizing certain things. Okay, so your food's on point, you think, or your activity, and your activity's on point. Now let's look at your food and how you're actually taking it in. One simple trick that you can do is when you go for your first meal of the day is prioritizing your protein, making sure that you're getting the protein in that you need for your body, right? Your goals, but also making sure that the meal that you eat, your first meal, is protein-based with fat and no starchy carbohydrates. Doesn't mean that you can't have starchy carbohydrates. It means just do them later in the day. That can be one quick shift for your metabolism and in breaking your plateau, because this can help reduce your insulin levels, your blood glucose levels, and then when you do eat, it's going to help a steady rise instead of a surge, causing weight gain, and you'll have weight loss instead. And last, let's adjust our expectations. Now, with that, what do I mean by that? Okay, what are your expectations? And I really don't like when we say realistic expectations, because sometimes I feel like that allows us to not strive to be better. Like, you want to have realistic goals, really? No, we want big, audacious goals. But when it comes to our body, we do need to be realistic, because we cannot control how fast our body responds, right? It's all about the cellular response and healing and physiological responses, all of those things. But what we can control, one, our thought patterns, the things that we say, and the actions that we take. But when it comes to like expectations, let's look at the science. Healthy weight loss is 1.95 pounds per week. That's what's considered healthy, and that's what's considered safe. So when you're looking at your results and you're saying, you see these programs out there and they're saying 1 pound a day or 30 pounds in 30 days, that's just setting your metabolism up and your whole mindset up for failure, because I guarantee you they gain it back because they lose water, they lose muscle very quickly. That slows down their metabolism even more. And then everything is like a ricochet or a rebound. And when they gain weight back, they usually gain more weight back than they lost. And the weight they gain back is not muscle, it's fat. So set up those expectations. Understand that 1.95 pounds per week is healthy, it's steady, and that's what you want, because you're not looking just to lose weight. You're looking to repair your metabolism for good. And that's the way you want to do it. 1.95, 1 inch around the waist. I mean, things like that. That's proper expectations. Plateaus aren't a failure. It's really just about having the right strategy and always measure, monitoring, and adjusting. And if you're ready for the right strategy, go ahead and download my Hormone Reset 101 guide. It's not about shrinking down, it's about leveling up.